Southwest LRT is actually 5 stops. They've got one slated for Van White, right over by Dunwoody. There's one by 394, the Penn Station, Lake Street Station. So, to my knowledge, it would come from out in the suburbs, come through just kind of like the outskirts of North Minneapolis where Harrison is. And so we would be slated to get a station stop right there. So the problem is at Van White, but
it's by the impound lot. So, it'll start at the Twin Stadium. There'll be a station in Royalston by the farmers market. Okay. It'll cut across and go. Do you know where all those piles of gravel are? If you're driving on 394 and you look over to your right, down below.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where the Van White station is. Then the Penn station, like Maren said, will be like on 394 and Penn. And then there'll be a West Lake station, kind of over by Whole Foods.
And so the, I'm sorry. So then the Southwest LRT would be right there at that station, and that's the same piece of land that the city and the county want to put train storage. And so train storage wasn't figured into this. It was supposed to be the Southwest LRT, our stop. We were supposed to get the bridge that would connect both Van Whites, because there's a Van White at 55, as Miss Annie has stated. There's another Van White, but there's no connection. So there's no way to connect people to that Southwest LRT, and this is exactly where they want to put the train storage. Like I said, it's diesel trains idling all day long, which now you're jeopardizing the light rail, the station stop, and you're jeopardizing transportation for North Minneapolis. It's going to make an equitable difference. And so that's where Harrison has the issue, like Miss Annie was talking about, the injustice to the environment. And so we have done all that we could, and we've talked to everybody that we can. And without Joan and Russ being involved, we wouldn't have this link. This is a very complex piece of the pie, and right now we're just getting a slice of it. And you know how you want pie? You want your whole pie, and you want to pick your slice. So, I mean, and that's what we're asking the community, is to give us all the information now. Don't give it to us week by week or year by year, because see, the trains, we're talking 25 years if they even come. Southwest LRT can be here now. We can develop now. If the market were to turn around tomorrow, we can develop and have this for our community. But with them doing the train storage, we're setting things off 25 years waiting for the trains, and we don't even know if the trains are going to come. So this is the problem in North Minneapolis. Once again, we have a piece of land that's vital that we own, or close to owning, have in our sites, and the city and the county want to take it from us. They think that it's their just dessert for them to eat the pie first.
So I'm going to get to some more questions, but I also want to point out again the importance of the Alliance as an intermediary, and thinking about organizations like Harrison or neighborhoods in various communities who are doing their neighborhood organizing and never thought about this issue. And if they had to go and do the research for this, they wouldn't have the resources to do this. So having an organization like the Alliance help Harrison, or help neighborhoods in Brooklyn Center, and when the light rail was coming down in by Lexington and University, community benefits agreements. It takes a lot to understand what these are, and so it's really important to have organizations like the Alliance to be those intermediaries and provide the resources for these groups.
Why not? Why not hold the mayor accountable every time you see him? Hey, do you know what's going on in North Minneapolis? Mark Dayton was over at UROC. You know he knows everything. You know what's going on. They know what's going on, but they choose to turn their eye to this. I think it's time that anybody who sees the mayor, hey, what's going on with the Bassett Creek master plan? I mean, every time I see him, he turns his head. I have no problem making him turn his head every day for the rest of my life if we make sure that we can get some sustainable, transportation in my neighborhood. It's not, like I said, it's not just about our community, it's about every community. Because what's happening in Harrison, it doesn't just stop in Harrison. If they do it in Harrison, they'll do it to your neighborhood too.
That's a really good point, and I think what we're seeing with this exponential growth is how our region's having to grow in working together across sectors. So you got Hennepin County having to work in partnership with Ramsey County. You got MnDOT having to work in partnership with the Met Council and all the municipalities, so that there is a big picture concept. I mean, the challenge really is there's one heavy rail bridge over the Mississippi right now, and that goes over Nicollet Island. Right now, all the North Star trains are serviced and stored in Northeast Minneapolis rail yards, and they all cross that one bridge to get to downtown. And so when you add in more trains, commuter and high-speed rail, that increases the demand. So the county's looking for what's convenient. And it doesn't matter that this community has been planning a equitable development, a way to lift up and make their community more prosperous for the past 10 years. It's what makes it convenient for the county to have their, it's like a central station, their main station. So that's exactly the question to be asking, and that's my hope, is that you know, the state will step forward and help to facilitate, and maybe TLC can help us think this through. No, come on, Barb, I know you know the answer. No. Yes. But the other thing I wanted to say, I really appreciate all the appreciations toward the Alliance, but really we couldn't do the work without the dedication of the people right on the ground who these issues directly impact, and taking the leadership and making the stand that they do. So that's definitely an essential ingredient to all our work here in the Twin Cities. And I just wanted to make sure we understood that.
We're going to take another question, but then I want you to all think about what's going to be happening in your community. You know, we've talked about all of these various projects. Thinking about what's going to be happening in your community and how are you going to get involved. Again, these are 20, 30-year projects, and if you're not in at the front end, things are going to happen. So. Next question.
Yes, so in Harrison specifically, what we do is we make sure that we've got committees available. We have the environmental committee. Annie is the environmental staff. We've got community gardens. We've got a crime and safety committee, and these all pertain to the Southwest LRT, to the train storage. All these committees are tied in. It's about getting your community involved, finding out what they care about. It's about touching people with their self-interest. The self-interest is Harrison, your community, where you live, where you own property, where you rent property, where your kids play, where your grandparents. I went to North High School. That's not in Harrison, but it's North Minneapolis. So some of the work we do in Harrison is we get down and dirty. We talk to people to find out what's important to them about the community. What is it that you don't like? What is it that you're willing to stand up and change? You know, if it's that you don't like the fact that there's no cameras on Glenwood Avenue, okay, come to the committee. It's about pushing people so that they'll push the community back, so that the community can then go and push the city and the county to get things done. So I'm on Facebook posting everything we do in Harrison. Every time we've got a door knock, I make sure that I contact people in other parts of North Minneapolis and South Minneapolis so we can get volunteers engaged. Facebook.
It could be better though. We would love your help.
Yes.
We need to upgrade our website.
But yeah, I mean, that's anything that we can, whether it's flyering, door knocking, word of mouth, Facebook. I mean, we're always doing things. I posted this on Facebook earlier today. So I can't say it as politically correct as Maura can. So we're talking about equity and inequity in North Minneapolis. So I'm just going to keep it real. Racism is everywhere. So this is something that we're working on in Harrison. We've got an Undoing Racism task force. We've been doing the Undoing Racism. I have been a part of it for the last 3 years. Maura and Annie have been a part of it longer. It's where we partner together, and it's about healing. It's about healing individuals, healing the communities, getting people aware that there is racism out there. And if you're blind-eyed to it, you know, you're exposing yourself to racism, because as long as there's racism and we don't try to stop it, then we're making it worse for not just us, but the next person. Privilege is something that I love to talk about, because if you don't know you have it, then you have it. If you know that you don't have it, you know you don't have it. So, you know, I walk around, my 16-year-old, this is the best story I can give to you. My 16-year-old attended the White Privilege Conference last year with Dr. Eddie Moore. We sent some of our leaders to it. I went, she goes to Washburn High School, she's a junior. She had on a sweatshirt that says, "Got Privilege." Her teacher came up to her in fourth period and said, "Oh, what's that about?" For the next 45 minutes, Washburn, their principal, their teacher started talking about privilege. That's what it's about. It's about engaging our youth, engaging our community, so that they can start opening the doors instead of having the door slammed in their face. This is a vital piece to how we organize in Harrison. It's about finding out where people are in their own skin and making sure that they're comfortable to then talk to other people. If you're not comfortable talking about your privilege, it's because you know you have it. If you're not comfortable talking about racism, it's because you know there is racism. I'm a type of person, I'll talk to you barefoot all day long. Okay, I'm pungent when I speak about racism. I'm black and I'm white. I've been on both sides of the fence. I've got half of the family that's KKK members, the other half are Black Panthers. I fit in the middle. Okay, I am at that point in my life where I am by any means necessary, but with a Mecca twist. I know that we have to work together to overcome this issue with racism. I also know that I love when someone who has privilege uses their privilege. And when it's used in the right way and they become a positive gatekeeper, this opens the door for not just them, but everybody else in the community. Thank you.
Was it 2,800?
It's 2,800 jobs that will be lost, 500 units of housing. 1,500 units of housing.
What jobs will be lost?
Any of the jobs that the developer would be bringing to the site would be in jeopardy because of the train storage. So right now, with the site, we're working with Ryan. Ryan, you gotta love him or hate him. So with that being said, the last meeting we all attended, we lost the housing. They can't build housing because of the train storage. So they'd rather put train storage in there versus 1,500 units of housing. This is North Minneapolis. This is part of the Homeland Decree. We are deserved in old housing. Okay, what was it, 10 years ago they tore down everything that was on Olson Highway? They built housing that people couldn't afford. 20 years ago? Okay, I'm a little older than I thought. That's okay. But so they tore this housing down with the promise that they would rebuild housing, affordable housing for the community. That has still not happened. That housing, Heritage is in foreclosure. As we speak, this is land, these are houses. This is places where people could live. We've got homeless people outside, and you've got houses that you want to foreclose on because you've got 40 houses that no one can pay $200,000 to live in.
But we gotta build a Viking stadium.
Yeah, you gotta. So with that being said, yeah, so there's job loss, and this is one of the potential issues that Harrison has because, like Russ had stated, we're talking about 5 years right now. Miss Annie says we can get a developer if the market turned around tomorrow. We could guarantee 2,800 jobs in the community that could come. We're talking about transit jobs. We're talking about brick and mortar jobs. We're talking about busing jobs. We're talking about development jobs, things that our people are trained in. But instead, what they want to do is build 2 buildings, 2 skyscrapers that are going to bring 2,000 jobs for people that are outside of the community. Now, this doesn't seem like it's equitable to me. And this is what the Bassett Creek Master Plan is supposed to give to Harrison. But with the train storage, all our hopes and dreams will be wiped out the door once again.
Let me give you a real example.
So I guess what I really want to leave with everybody is we sit around today and we talk about the ideas, the hopes and the dreams of what the possibilities could be. Train storage coming in with its diesel idling all day long in a maintenance facility will wipe out all those dreams. This is something that I was raised on, were hopes and dreams. And then to know that I don't have the right in my own community to dream anymore seems kind of unfair to me.
And I just want to add to that, that's true with all the transit ways that are being planned, that the local communities, the environmental justice communities along the transit ways will struggle for their hopes and dreams and the benefits that they can leverage from those major infrastructure investments. And the story's not done on Central Corridor.
It's not
I think,
done here on Hiawatha.
right, and it's not done on Hiawatha. Hiawatha wasn't, the land use planning and the economic development planning wasn't really as much a part of that process. I think really we got to get it right, as Metric says, we got to get it right on Central Corridor if we're going to get it right on all of these. So another thing really that we all can do is really be strong advocates to supporting local communities having a voice and dreaming big. I mean, the fact that your community and you see what's possible and that you're not just reacting and saying no, but you're saying, we got this dream, we got this vision. I think that's true for the communities up in Brooklyn Park, on the Bottineau Transitway, and in North Minneapolis on the Bottineau Transitway. Central Corridor is deep in the midst of all of that right now as construction's moving ahead on what they want to get out of that.
Awesome. Well, I want to leave you with a shameless pitch for Headwaters. We are the foundation that funds organizing. We fund this continuum of the Alliance for Metropolitan Stability in Harrison to do this work that's not only about local community, but Minnesota and the Minnesota that we want to live in. So we need your support, not only financially, but to talk about this work and our grantees and be a part of it. So I just want to leave you with that, and you're free to stick around with. Talk to these experts here, and you all are experts in the audience as well, so grab a drink, and thank you for coming out on this cold night. The one cold night this winter.
Thank you.